Well, very excited to be here today, and it's great to be in front of y'all and have you in here. You've been good to the university, good to myself, good to the football team, and we thank you for that. We know you have to do your job, but appreciate the way you do your job. We're excited about this season getting started up. We will have all but we're going to miss one guy from the first couple of practices for a family reason. Other than that, we'll be full speed ahead. I think we do have a couple of kids that are one that's injured that won't be able to start the season with us. Other than that, we'll be full speed ahead, ready to go, and we're all excited about it and excited to get rolling. So I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Good to see you again. Hey, where are you? Do you feel ahead year two at this stage, compared to last year? Would you say?
Well, I think certainly the first part is we're in much better shape. You know, we had a much better off season because we had more time. But I think we're in better shape. I think because of the meetings we were able to have and the continuity with our three coordinators coming back, I think all those things are going to benefit us. But we feel a lot better about our football team. We know them better, and they know us better, probably as important as either one. So feel good about it.
Coach, I guess if you wanted to mention the players that you were talking about, you would have mentioned them. But I really wanted to ask about the biggest off-season games. I'm sure you guys just recently tested and stuff. Is there anybody that just really made huge progress in the off-season?
Trey, I was telling Coach Walker, this is as big a gain in the summer as I've seen, and it's pretty much all around. You'll have an opportunity to talk to Traylon Burks and, of course, Catalan. You'll see the difference in their bodies. It's kind of all around. I don't know the marks that we set, but there was a significant gain in strength, weights where we needed it. We have a 5-pound radius. In other words, we pick, not for the head coach, but for everybody else, we have a 5-pound radius where they have to stay within 5 pounds of our target rate. And we were over 90% of those guys that did that. It has to be either 5 below or 5 ahead or 5 above. I have no qualms about Marco Avant. It's had some surgery, and his foot's not ready. And that would be the one young man I was talking about as far as won't be quite ready to start the season.
I guess kind of where are you as far as backup quarterbacks, and what are you looking for out of that position?
Well, I think there's a battle there. Obviously, K.J. Jefferson is one going into fall camp. And then after that, I think obviously Malik Hornsby is sitting right there at 2. I think John Stephen Jones, you know, we talked about it yesterday. Obviously, they're all going to compete, but I think we have to make sure who our 3 is before we decide whether they're going to be able to compete at that level for the 2 spot. And so we're doing reps accordingly to that, you know. But you've got, you know, several guys right in there with Renfro and Coley and John Stephen Jones, those guys right there. We've got to find who is our solid 3 first, and then we'll let them go attack the 2 spot as well.
What's wide receiver looking at beyond Burks, Coach?
Well, Davion Warren is a guy that's healthy. He's looked well. He's looked good. I think we're going to watch his rep take, just on that injury that he had. Certainly Trey Knox, Morris. I've liked, at least in the workouts, the weight room workouts and the running. Warren Thompson, he's looked good, and obviously you have to talk about J.D. White in that category along with Jaquaden Crawford. So we're trying to get to 9 that we think that we can go out there and win SEC games with. And, you know, some of that will include certainly Catalan, and then some of that will include some of the younger guys as well.
Yeah, Sam, now that it's official, Texas and OU have accepted invitations to the SEC. I guess we don't know what year they're going to come exactly, but what are your thoughts now that it's official?
You know, if it's better for the league, then all for it. If it's 2025 and I'm still the head coach at Arkansas, I'm all for it, you know. So I really don't have a thought on that, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned at SEC Media Days that you feel the defense can really improve if you become more comfortable in a 4-man front. What's going to be important for you and the staff when it comes to maybe identifying starters and guys who can factor into the rotation?
Yeah, I think that's a big deal for us. We're trying to find our best, you know, first. And certainly we've added 3 guys in the transfer portal that we feel like are certainly going to compete for those jobs as well. But I think the defensive line, in a nutshell, has improved tremendously this summer with their size. You know, you look at Zach, and Zach Williams is, I don't know, he's 260 now, you know, where he's getting knocked around about 228, 225 last year. And I can go on and on about specific guys as far as their weight gain and their strength gain. That room's got to get better. They know it. The first thing, they have to be consistent in their work ethic. I think that's getting better, but they need a leader in that group that's going to lead by example, and hopefully we'll find that from tomorrow on.
Hi, Coach. I know you're not really wanting to comment on Texas and OU coming into the SEC, but since Texas is on the schedule this year, I wonder if you could give a couple of comments about, you know, starting off with those 2 Southwest Conference teams. And as you mentioned, I think it was at, you know, media days that, you know, the older folks are really fired up on that.
And, I got in trouble for saying older folks.
I know. How about the players?
But I'm not no young chicken, you know. And I don't feel like that's not a compliment. I mean, but the old Southwest Conference rivalry means a lot to the people who's followed the program for a significant number of years. How about that? That sounds better? And excited to get Rice, you know, Rice in our stadium. I'm sure Rice is excited about it too. And I didn't know. I talked to Coach Hatfield, and, you know, he put it in plain terms. You know, it was the Texas schools and Arkansas, you know, and I didn't know that. So you can kind of see, you know, where it'd be exciting to get Rice in here. They're a very physical team, and like I said, I believe Marshall was 7-0, and they beat them for the first time, the first loss for Marshall. They're very physical on both sides of the ball, and they do some things defensively that are going to be difficult for us. A lot of movement. And then Texas, you know, like I said in media days, I thought Coach called, when he was at Alabama, as good of a football game offensively as you could, and the national championship game. And we have a lot of respect for the Texas program. I know everybody's excited to get them in here in our stadium, including us. And but you know, that's certainly week 2. Right, the Texas game won't be near as significant if we don't go beat Rice, and that's the objective right now.
Hey, Coach, I was curious about any position moves, whether that you might be able to fill us in on, whether it's a guard to tackle or safety to corner, or maybe some of the young guys you're going to look at a different spot.
You know, Trey, you're not offended if I call you Trey, are you? You can call me Sam, too, if you'd like. I don't get it. But anyway, I'm thinking here, you know, we've moved Zach Zymos, but I think we did in the spring. I can't really think of anybody that we've moved positions. You know, Rocket Sanders came in as a wideout. Y'all know we moved him to running back. but I can't even tackle the center-wise, things of that nature. I think, obviously we have Shane Clinton at center backing up, certainly Ricky. We will, I believe you have to be deep at center. Them and the quarterback's the only ones that touch the ball every play. And I think you have to be deep at center. And so, certainly Ty will get some looks there, but he deserves the opportunity, which he is starting day one at right guard. He deserves that opportunity as well. But finding that backup center will be a big deal. I know that's not the question you asked. I can't remember anybody that we've moved, Trey. I don't want to lie to you. Maybe we did. I just can't remember.
Coach, you can call me Clay. It's all right, too.
Okay.
When you think about improving the running game, how do you do that in camp? And you have 2 scrimmages, but what's the key to getting it both sides of the ball, stopping the run, being able to run it?
Well, I think a big part of it is familiarity with your offense. I think anytime, you look at your team and you go, well, they got better at this as the year went on, and that's just, to me, that's getting the right people in the right spot, being familiar with your coaches, things of that nature. But we have to do a better job coaching the offensive line, the tight ends. Certainly our backs have to break more tackles, things of that nature. But we're going to have a big emphasis on 3rd and short throughout the camp. And we're going to have a big emphasis on being able to run the football, as in, you hate to take a read away, but, for the quarterback where he can throw it, but as in we're going to run the football. The defense knows we're going to run the football. We're not going to try to throw the slant behind it or anything. We're just going to turn around and hand it off, see what we can get accomplished. The only way I know how you do that is you go practice it, and you can do it with bigger and stronger players, and that's what we have returning.
Sam, I know Tykees Crawford missed some time in spring. I assume you're expecting him ready to go for camp. And where do you see him fitting in on the offensive line, both this year and maybe in the future as well?
Well, right now on the depth chart, he's 3 at right tackle. And ahead of him is Marcus Henderson. And so we expect him to battle for that position. He certainly has the tools. He had no chance, honestly, last spring. He just wasn't in good enough shape. And but I feel like he's learned the offense much better, and he's in good shape. So we're expecting him to compete for playing time.
Hey, Coach. Question, as you look to the secondary and just getting faster back there, the battles that you're anticipating during camp, and then leadership from Jalen Catalon, and then at the linebacker spot with Grant Morgan, making that defense better back there.
Yeah, certainly Jalen is the leader of that group, but Simeon Blair is certainly a guy that has great leadership qualities just because he works so hard. I think there's going to be some battles at corner. I think Day Bishop has a big-time opportunity to start for us, but he has to earn that. I think him and Clark are going to have a battle there. Kyrie Johnson, certainly over there with Mo Brown. Those are battles that I can see as we have to figure out who our best is. Certainly Barry and Coach Carter have done a good job of mixing and matching back there. We had to do that last year because of COVID. We found out it works for us. Basically you're trying to find your 4 or 5 best secondary players depending on what the front looks like for us on defense. And so I think that's probably our biggest battles right now. Chavez has an opportunity. Miles Slusher would have an opportunity. But right off the top of my head, that would be where our biggest battles are. We're trying to find our 2 best corners would be the first thing.
Yeah, Sam, I think Holtz called me like Brad and Greg and Tom my first year on the beat, so I appreciate that you know my name. Is there anything in particular you're looking for this first week, either, from pace or just anything? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm really looking for team leadership. I want to see the team push each other, and the more the team can control the tempo, the strain of practice, the better football team you're going to have. We'll certainly have our expectations, but you'd like for the expectations to be met by the players. And that's when you have a pretty good football team, and they feel like they own the team. And so that's probably the number one deal, because coming out of the spring and coming out of summer, you felt like the team was getting ready to take its ownership of themselves. And then that becomes belief, and a lot of certainly confidence comes out of that. So that would be the number one thing. Defensively, we have to be able to get the offenses we're playing behind the chains. I think that's the biggest thing for Barry and them is, quit getting into 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, and let's go to 2nd and 12 and 2nd and 10. Give ourselves a little bit better chance. Certainly 3rd downs, getting off the field was a big part of that as well. And then on offense, we're going to make a big deal, as I said, about running the ball on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. We certainly have to get better at protecting the football. So in our practice schedules that we made, there's quite a bit more emphasis on 9-on-9 type of pocket pass protection. If everybody in the building knows you're going to throw the football or run a draw, so does every defense we play, and we have to be able to protect it. We can't continue to give up the sacks that we did last year. And sacks happen for a lot of different reasons. It can be a line, it can be a back, it can be a quarterback, it can be receivers not getting open. But sacks, as we all know, are negative plays, and we have to get rid of those. And so that'll be a big emphasis for us over the next 25 practices.
I would think the battles on the defensive line would be some of the biggest in camp. Can you talk about who you've seen in the summer, who could run out there with the first team, and just where the battles lie?
Well, Eric Gregory, Isaiah Nichols, Zach Williams, Jashad Stewart. That would probably be your starting guys coming out there. And then, behind them you have Dorian Gerald and Torian Carter and Solie and Miller. And then you have, I tell you, Cam Ball's been impressive with his athletic ability this summer. And I think he's going to help us. I don't want to put pressure on a young guy, but I think he's going to help us. And then certainly when you got Kel Utsey and then Trey Williams and Ridgeway, we brought them here for a reason. And 2 of the 3 have played in this league and had find success in this league. So last year we played a lot of 3 down because that's what we had, and hopefully we can get into more 4 down defense. And but we've got to find that out. The way we practice is, we have 2 fields going basically all the time, and so I think we're going to be able to find out whom we have fairly fast, and certainly we're not going to bring a guy in from a transfer portal that we're going to start him day 1, but if he's a good player, it might be day 2.
Sam, I've never coached a team before with this much veteran experience, and how does that change the way you guys practice compared to if you had a younger team?
No, to answer your question first, I don't know. There's not many teams, in the country that ever bring back 19 starters, I wouldn't imagine. I think Kirby said it. We have 23 seniors. We have probably the most seniors coming back, counting super seniors and regular seniors, for not a better word that I've found on it. But, no, I really haven't. It probably won't change much at all in practice. It might change a little bit of how we scrimmage. Probably won't change a whole lot on the first scrimmage. It might change some on the second scrimmage, and that doesn't have to be seniors. That could be guys like Catalan and Burks as well too. But probably not a lot of change there. But you know, you have veteran players, guys that'll play hard and are tough and are knowledgeable and are leaders. You've seen it in every sport that you have a chance, and a lot of times a better chance.
I guess with only 2 experienced tight ends, just kind of how much does that affect how you use that position, especially early in the season?
Yeah, you know, me personally, I'd like to get in a lot of 12 personnel, you know, where you have 2 tight ends. I think we're going to do that some, but we just don't have the depth there. And so I don't know if it'll affect us how we practice. We have a lot of bodies there. Somebody's got to step up besides, obviously, Kern and Hud. But, you know, Bax is there, and then we've got some other guys that are young that are coming basically off injuries. That whole room, you know, whether it be shoulders or knees or whatever it is. So we have to find another tight end at least. And I think we will, but that's concerning there because we're not right now a whole lot deeper than we were last year when we finished.
So I think one of the first things you mentioned at media days that you were proud of was your team's vaccination rate.
Yeah.
Just you may be able to update that number, but you know, what do you think about the success your team has had with that, especially kind of relative to the context of the rest of the state?
You know, I'm proud of our team. You know, you get all the remarks that, you know, you can't play football because you can't really comment on anything that you don't know the facts of. You know, we're 90% on our football team. We're over 93% in our building. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of it because it was their choice, but that's how they chose. They want to play. You know, last year our team tweeted out, we want to play. Well, we didn't have the opportunity to get the vaccine. There's not a whole lot we could do about it besides the masking and the 6 feet. And there's a lot we could do about it. I didn't mean that, but we didn't have the vaccine. And so I'm very proud of our team. They want to play football, and they weren't forced to do it. That was their choice, but proud of our staff. I mean, it's going on in the NFL right now, and I hope there's a day hopefully soon that we can get where we don't have to talk about the vaccine, that we found a way to figure it out. But certainly it's not that way today as I'm looking out here at all these masks, you know.
Coach, Sam, you guys worked so many people at punt return, kick return, it was kind of hard to keep up with. Have you guys pared that down any heading into camp here?
We pared it down to whom we think can do it, yes. But, Trey, we have some new guys, you know, that did it in high school and did it at a high success rate and have speed and have that moxie, you know, that you want back there. So it'll probably take us a few days, maybe a couple weeks before we settle in on who the guy is, but we do have some young guys that we want to look at, and of course we've got to get to where we're stealing first downs on returns or touchdowns. And right now, is that Frogger or no? It's the little guy Mario. Yeah, I used to spend a lot of quarters on that. Don't do that, kids. But anyway, that's the answer to the question. We have to find some. You know, you can block them up all you want, but if you can't make a guy miss back there, you're not going to scare anybody. And we need to get to that right. And trust me, we're on it. We understand what we need to do back there, and we'll try to get that fixed.
Coach, what's the mindset of this team as they head into year 2 under you?
Yeah, I love them. I mean, I love the team. I think they're hungry. I think they, you know, we're a chip on the shoulder, tough, proud. We love the state of Arkansas. You know, that's not for recruiting. That's just the truth. And I think they're a confident group. You know, you have to do something to continue to stay confident, you know. You have to have success in whatever way that may be. I've said it before, I thought going in at halftime against Georgia last year, even though we didn't win the game, built some confidence in our program. You know, hey, we can do this. And, you know, bottom line, you put two halves together, what may happen. But I love the demeanor of the team. I like the new guys that we brought in, the transfers and the freshmen. And I am very proud of the new coaches that we brought in. And I don't know if it's fairy tale land in there, but it's pretty nice right now.
We're going to do three more. Hutch, Troy, and then Tom will wrap us up.
Yes, Sam. Last year, this time, I don't think very many people knew who Grant Morgan was, and then he went on to be an All-American. Is there anybody you've seen during the spring or summer workouts that maybe we're not talking about that could maybe surprise us?
Oh, man. I think y'all pretty much talk about everybody. That's a hard one. That's a good question, but it's a hard one. I don't know really how to answer that. We have to find a second team. We got to find a number 2 running back, and whomever that is, I think we'll talk a lot about him.
Hey, Coach, you were thrown into a pretty tough situation last year, adopting an SEC losing record, first season, and then you also had COVID on top of that. I can only imagine how stressful that was, but I'm curious going into year 2, what's the most stressful part of your job right now?
Well, to answer that first part of it, all that stuff, but I was the head coach at the University of Arkansas, so that made it all very much worth it. But this year going in is obviously the unknowns of COVID wears on you somewhat. Not a whole lot, you know. We're very well prepared. Our staff is very well prepared. I love what we're doing in our 25 days. That we have 29. We've already been kind of through last year in the non-padded walks, and you know, so the spider days, you know, the 7 spiders, and I mean, we think we can get a lot of work in spiders. So I'm really not too concerned about a whole lot of things, except we had to find some positions, and it may not be just totally the starter, but I think we talked about the returners. I mean, those things are big for us, but they're not concerning because I think they're on our team. We just had to make sure we get the best one or 2.
Last one, Tom.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about 2 guys in their springs, Keytron and Javion Hunt. But I had another question, and it was this. When we played, you lifted weights and you ran post-practice sprints. But conditioning has changed a lot. Do you not have to run as much because you know how much sprinting they're doing in practice? Has that changed, and what do you think of the new style of conditioning, I guess?
Well, we don't ever condition our guys because we're mad at them, you know, because you're trying to get them into shape, but yet you're punishing them. You know what I mean? Back whenever we ran, it was like we ran a gazillion 100 meters, and it was, or not meters, yards, and it was because we had a bad practice. You know what I mean? So we believe that the way we practice, and more importantly even that, is the way that we transition. So when we get on and off the field, if you look to see how many times we transition in a practice, you're looking at a lot of sprints at that point. As long as we do that and our transition's good, I believe that we'll have a team, because Jamil and his staff did a great job of getting them in shape. As long as we do that, I feel like we're going to be in prime shape to go out there and compete. Now, part of your shape goes with what's your depth like as well. You know, if you guys are going to talk to Burks, and you'll see, and of course Cat, and you'll see the difference in his body this year than what it was last year. Well, he's stronger, he's faster, but he's in shape. And I think he's going to be able to play more reps that way. And certainly we have catapults that tell us how many yards they ran, how fast they ran, all those things. But, yeah, it's changed a little bit. You know, back in the old days, you showed up today, and you were gone all summer. You showed up today and probably had to accelerate get the sprints and all that because you had to get in shape faster.